Retired Navy SEAL Mike Sarraille is here to sound off. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Chanel, thanks for having me again.
Mike, after watching what I call the yawn fest of the no new information Secret Service hearing in both the House and now the Senate yesterday, any fresh takeaways or questions that you have for our government officials at this point?
You know, I do think Ronald Rowe was genuine in his frustration. I'll tell you where I sort of take or disagree. To continually put the blame on the local law enforcement, Secret Service is the supported, overarching, responsible entity for the security of the president in running those events. Local law enforcement is a supporting element. And so what this goes to show is that there was a complete lack in the planning or rehearsals, particularly with the communication. So that's where Roe went wrong, is continually blaming local law enforcement. At the end of the day, the buck stops with the Secret Service. And I'll say one more point. You are right about the careerism that goes on within government, rather than being selfless and doing the right thing for the country. And, you know, people keep saying that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. I'll tell you what the biggest existential threat to democracy is. It's a lack of trust in your government and, unfortunately, now the media.
No, it's a double whammy, right? I mean, at least the media ostensibly was supposed to be the ones holding these guys accountable. And we've seen them time and again, especially with these big tech lawsuits, hand in hand, colluding with each other. And when you see moments like that and you've degraded our trust in those kinds of institutions, where do we go from there? How do you maintain civil society and prevent civil unrest if any little thing goes wrong?
This comes down to leadership. And we live off of one golden rule when it comes to leadership, and that's set the example or lead by example. And our leaders in the National Capital Region are doing anything but that. It requires a strong leader. And right now, the best option is Trump, who holds people accountable. And you know, you've got to deliver outcomes. And that's the bottom line. But when we have leaders who are willing to acquiesce to, again, protecting their own careers and playing the political game, this is where the shenanigans start. And even further, you know, the previous Secret Service director, with this DEI policy, we saw that in action in Butler, Pennsylvania. You know, the best person for the job, if that's 100% males, that's what it should be. When you step onto an airplane, you don't care about the demographics of the pilot. You don't care if they're straight or gay, white or black, man or a woman. You want the best person piloting that aircraft. And that's what this is about. When you start to get into the DEI and the practices that have been imposed on the military, and I got to be careful here, like opening combat roles to women. There have been 0 females that have made it through SEAL training, the basic underwater demolition school. And they use something called blind selection. It's just,
you don't have to be careful on that front. I agree with you. Like, women have no place on that kind of battlefield because they get weaponized. They get used, they get weaponized, and physically, biologically, men and women are not the same. So I can say that. I'm giving you permission to go ahead and use your expertise. But I think that this latest fiasco, watching Cheadle and how she has run the Secret Service, is certainly opening up more courage to have conversations and points like you just now raised.
It is. Ultimately, the Secret Service is they carry a burden. It is a 24/7, 365 job. And if you get it wrong once, people label you as a loser. So I do have empathy for the fact that it is a extremely difficult job, but that's the burden you take on when you sign up for the Secret Service. And that's why we need our very best. And if that's a man or a woman, so be it. But it's got to be people who meet the very high bar, the threshold, the standard to do just that. And when you enact these social experiments on organizations like the Secret Service, you see what we have with Butler, Pennsylvania, where just poor tactical decisions were made, from communication to not putting a sniper on the roof, and there is no excuse for that.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.